We have seen before that when bats hibernate, they hibernate in huge colonies, pressing together so that there is warmth where they are. Bats are mammals. They account, listen carefully, they amount for more than 25% of all the mammals on earth. Quite an impressive figure, isn't it? Bats are the only mammals that can fly. Mother bats have only one baby in their litter. A baby bat is called a pup. And when a pup is born, it usually has no hair and its eyes is closed. It clings to its mother and drinks milk from her. When the pup is about 4 to 5 months old, the pup learns to fly. Bats, contrary to popular belief, bats are very sociable animals, and they live in large colonies. Depending on the type of bat, their lifespan is between 4 and 30 years. So bats are here to stay. Bats like to live in dark places, in caves, holes in trees, and even buildings are their favorite homes. Because bats sleep during the day and are active during the night, they are called nocturnal creatures. Here's another amazing thing about bats. They sleep upside down. They use their feet to grasp onto a twig or a board, and when it is cold, they hang close together. What an amazing sleeping position. Please don't try this at home. Bats have teeth, and they chew their food. 70% of all bats eat insects. One bat can eat more than 1,000 insects in 1 hour. To catch insects, bats use their wings. No, not to bat the insects down, but at the end of their wings, they have things, strong hairs that look like hands, like fingers. And when they see the insect, they actually grab those insects with their wings. Their wings are the only part of their body that is not covered with hair, but with thin, tough skin. Bats use their wings like hands, and they have little thumbs and wrists on them. No wonder bats look scary. Some bats, of course, eat nectar, fruit, and other seeds from plants. A few species of bats, they eat the blood from the back of cattle and the feet of chickens. These vampire bats slit the animal's skin with their sharp toenails, and then they lap up the blood from there. The largest bat of the world was recorded to have a wingspan of more than 6 feet. However, most of them have smaller, much smaller wings. We've spoken about the buzzard. We've spoken about the bat. Now let's get right into the bumblebee. I have heard that bumblebees shouldn't be able to fly. Where does that story come from? Well, human beings with big brains said that it was impossible for bumblebees to fly because of the weight of their body and the small, flimsy wings that they have. But bumblebees with small brains don't know this, so they continue to fly on in blissful ignorance. They are larger and they are rounder than other bees. In the world, there are more than 250 species of bumblebees. Its distinctive coat is dark and furry, allowing it to operate in much cooler weather than other bees would operate in. The ability to fly in the cold weather normally means that it is the first bee to be seen in winter and when spring emerges again. Bumblebees live in small colonies containing between 50 and 400 members, along with the queen bee who produces all the female worker bees. The only survivor in the winter months is the queen bee, who stays alive and takes refuge in the thick undergrowth and thick planted areas. With the winter behind her, this queen bee arises, emerges, and begins looking for an appropriate nesting site in which she can lay her eggs and develop a very own colony. And in order to protect her colony from attackers and elements, the queen bee normally builds it underground, taking advantage of old knoll nests or natural cracks in the earth, or even broken paving at our houses. Once established, she will create a perfectly formed sterile wax cells, hexagonal wax cells, designed specifically to accommodate the next generation of female workers. And here is where it gets interesting. As this population of bumblebee grows, and the workers go out to collect the nectar and pollen required to sustain the colony, towards the end of the summer season, the colony raises up the virgin queens, and the males are required to create future generations. Both of these leave the nest in order to find mates for one another. Once the mate has successfully mated with the female, the male dies. Whereas the fertilized female queen, she seeks out somewhere to hibernate, and thus the cycle begins all over again. Isn't it amazing? These three creatures, the buzzard, the bat, and the bumblebee, each of them have interesting characteristics that is unique to each one. Each of them, in a way, resemble life to a certain extent and our experiences that we have. And you must be wondering, what exactly is that relationship or that thread that runs through all three that warrants them grouped together so that we can do this presentation and you can listen to this message? When we get back, we will get right into the relationship between the buzzard, the bat, and the bumblebee. Stay right with us.